Hey, Coach, Matt Weaver, 247sportspeaks.com. I guess first question, what made this an attractive option? What was it about when Coach Allen sold you on that made you want to come here?
Well, I mean, besides the obvious, you know, I've run into Coach Allen quite a bit, you know, and I know people that know him, and I've been doing this a long time, and you kind of get to a point in your career where you want to work with quality people, high quality people, and he's absolutely that. So that was a big pull for me. I mean, obviously I love the Big Ten, but that's not, you know, paramount. But working for Coach Allen is huge for me.
All right, Pete, on your left, and then Sam.
Hey, Coach, Pete Premio, IU Athletics. I'm curious, what in your standpoint or viewpoint creates good offensive line play? Obviously, you got talent, but is it communication? Is it what all goes involved in that?
Yeah, I think when you start from the very beginning, you got to find out, you know, okay, well, who do we have? You know, who are our players? You know, what can we do? You know, what are the things that they're going to be able to do well? I mean, how are they built? You know, what do we have here right now that would allow us to do certain schemes well, right? You know, once you figure those things out, then I do think it's a huge, you know, working together. I think continuity is huge. You know, I don't like playing musical chairs, moving guys around a lot, you know, experimenting. You'd like to have some answers in place before you only get so many reps. It's time and distance. So you like to be efficient, you know, with their time, you know, because they're only going to be on the field for so long. But I think those are the things that lead into it.
All right, Sammy right in front, and then Jack.
Coach Sammy Jacobs from Hoosier Huddle. Have you had a chance to sit down with the offensive line, look at what you have, to build off of that question, look at what you have and kind of build a plan for spring practice?
Yeah, I've had been mostly on the road recruiting, so I haven't had a ton of time, but I've, you know, certainly met with my guys one-on-one. I've met with them as a group, but it hasn't been a ton. You know, I've watched them on film. And so I've formulated some things. I don't think I've gotten to that point where, you know, hey, it's day one spring ball, here's how we're lining up, here's the starting five, anything else like that. It's just really, right now I'm just trying to get to know the guys as much as I can, you know. You know, once we come off the road, I think that'll really pick up, you know, that'll really fast forward. But right now it's just, you know, like, they have a voluntary day that they did yesterday on their own, you know, and I was in there and I got a chance to just see them, and after being gone all week. So that's really what it's been, you know. It hasn't been too extensive. You know.
All right, Jack, on your left, and then Mike.
Coach Jack Ankeny with SI Indiana. When you were hired, there's obviously already 3 freshmen that were committed. I guess when you were hired, was there any sort of process of having to re-recruit them, or were they all kind of on board when you were hired? And I guess, what do you like about the freshman class?
Yeah, I didn't really have to recruit them much. I think Coach Allen, their relationship with Coach Allen was really strong, and I think so for me it was okay. You know, sign on the dotted line, get out on the road, go see these guys. A couple of these guys already had, you know, official visits already, so it was me going out seeing them, and I had known some of those guys from before. And then the other ones, we had one come in on an official visit with his family, so it was really good to spend some time with him. But I mean, you know, Coach Allen did such a good job with those guys that there wasn't any, we didn't have to play that game.
All right, Mike in the back, and then Mason.
Hey, Coach, Mike Schumann of the Daily Hoosier. When you start to get on the field with these guys in the spring, what are going to be kind of some of the non-negotiables for you? Like, what are the things that an offensive lineman has to do to be successful under you?
Love that word, non-negotiables. Yeah, I do use that word. You know, I think a lot of this stuff is coach speak, and you know, as far as, you know, we're going to work hard, we're going to train hard, you know, things like that. You know, I'm a big rep guy. I'm a big guy that believes in, you know, like systematically feeling that you're working harder than somebody else by doing more and things like that. So I hope I can create this climate of, you know, spending a lot of time on the field and getting a lot done, being really efficient, things like that. You know, technically, you know, based on the schemes, there's always gonna be those technical things that you're, you know, you say, hey, this is the way it's gotta be, and the aiming points and the footwork and the landmarks and things like that, but, you know, I think, you know, just for me, just go fast forwarding, going, okay, day one, what is it gonna look like? You know, I think it's gonna look high tempo, high energy, you know. I'm not gonna have a pom-pom out there or anything else like that. That's not my style, but, you know, we're gonna work hard.
All right, Mason right in front and Todd.
Coach Mason Williams, Hoosier.com, you mentioned right there, just kind of keeping with that up-tempo offense that Indiana had last year, getting to know the other coaches besides Coach Allen, with Bell, with all the other guys you're going to work with on offense. How has that relationship started to form so far, and how do you see that prospering forward?
Yeah, it's been great. You know, been working a lot with Walt Bell. You know, we've tried to, the time that we've had in between, you know, whether it's a recruiting week that we're all gone or there's a day here, we've tried to fill that in, come back, and spend some time kind of formulating the offense. And you know, I'm really in a learning stage right now of, okay, this is how we call it. This is the operation. So we have spent a lot of time already with that, and you know, and then the other coaches, you know, have been great about coming in and helping out. So it's been excellent.
Todd on your right and Todd.
Coach Todd Golden with CNHI. Offensive line is such a unit that's built on continuity. How much has the portal changed the way you build an offensive line? Has it changed the turnover more so than it would have been otherwise?
Oh, no doubt. I mean, without a doubt. I mean, it's not even close. You know, the days of, you know, signing a class and then kind of watching them. You know, I don't know if there's as many guys around left like me where you know, you recruited a class, and then maybe you redshirted that class, and then you brought that class up and you started to, okay, I'm going to get some reps my freshman year, and then maybe if they're really good, they're playing substantially their sophomore year, and then by the time you got a junior or a senior, you got a really good players, and you got a really good line. You know? Those days are gone. You know, I don't know if there's many places that are going to be able to do something like that anymore. So now it's, you know, and I'm still, you know, my ideal plan would be I want high school guys. I want to have a chance to develop them. I want to have a chance to, you know, teach them the things that, you know, are important to our team. Is that possible to do? I don't know. We're going to try to do that with a recruiting plan and things like that, but there is always going to be that element right there, and it's definitely changed. You get a new guy in, and you know, it takes time. You know, it takes time for guys to get to know each other, guys to feel comfortable with each other, guys to trust each other. You know, especially when you're right next to somebody, and your job is depending on that guy as much, especially within the offensive line. So, I mean, to answer your question, yeah, it's gonna be hard. I don't think there's a lot of programs left that can do it. We're gonna try to do it.
All right, Tyler on your left.
Coach Todd Attachment with the Indianapolis Star. I guess you touched on it a little bit, but how would you describe your coaching style? And I know you coach in the NFL. Is there any things, I guess, just from working there just early in your career that kind of stick out of things you've learned that you feel like you can bring to IU?
Well, I mean, I feel like I've got a pretty good reputation for running the ball. I think we've got to be able to run the ball. Those things, I think, you know, working with this group right now and teaching these guys what I think are techniques and systems that work, that are sound, you know, for guys that I'm not saying that we didn't have that before or anything else like that. I'm just going on what I've done before in the past, you know. So I feel like, you know, we can come in here and plug in a system within from tackle to tackle and be a more effective unit. You know what I mean? And I think I've got a pretty good track record of that. A good chunk of experience with that, and you know, we'll see how it goes. We got a lot to put together, you know, as a staff and everybody else, as far as, you know, what are we going to be and who are we? I know last year there was a little bit of change there, or a huge change, and you know, we're kind of right in the middle of that right now as a staff, saying, okay, what are we going to do? Who are we going to be? You know?
All right, Matt Weaver, last one.
Hey, Coach, you talked about working with Coach Bell. Obviously, his system, excuse me, is up-tempo,
Yeah.
going fast. I know at Wisconsin, that's not something you guys did a
Right.
lot, I guess. How does that change your approach when you start working with your guys, or is it just, you still coach them the same way and get them ready?
Yeah, I don't, I've always been a high tempo coach, like on the practice field, like I talked about earlier, about getting a lot of reps and being super efficient and not wasting time and things like that. So I've always felt like I've coached in practice a high tempo style, but then whether it's, you're getting in a huddle or you're not getting in a huddle, I don't know how that makes much of a difference, I think the biggest thing will be for guys is, if we are gonna be that super fast paced, processing information and being able to, do the things that I wanna do that we've done as huddling and things like that, that little chunk of time from on the line of scrimmage to the snap of the ball, if that's gonna be reduced, are we able to get all those things done? To me, that'll be a big test, but I think it's necessary. I think you gotta have those things, so we're gonna find a way to get it done.
All right, thanks, Bob.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thanks, Coach.